All right, so this is footage from a previous live, and I figured out that you can download them, and I thought that'd be pretty interesting to speak on it a little bit. So what we're doing here is this is some tough white oak from the stave mill. Lots of people think this is cedar, where it's debarked, but I think some people that have watched me for a while know that this is indeed white oak. It's very tough wood, and this day I'm using the custom axe that I got from Brad Ratonia. The most beautiful axe handle I've ever had, I can say. And I've had a lot of beautiful ones, but this one is custom, and it's my first ash handle I've ever had as well, and by far the best double bit head I've ever had. It is my new favorite splitter. It truly is. And so I'm kind of going to just talk through what happened here a little bit with this axe, and something that's new for me as well, which is experimenting with ash as a handle, you know. So Brad makes his handles beautifully. He makes them by hand. And what I mean by that is he shapes them, you know, by hand. He cuts them out of billets, if I'm not mistaken, but then he shapes them once he's got them cut out and everything by hand. And he makes them beautifully. The palm swell, the shape of the handle, everything is perfect. And the length of it, he asked me what length I wanted. I like a 36-inch axe handle. That's really minimum to me. I don't really like to go any shorter than that at all because I split on the ground. And you don't have to bend over as much, you know. And then I swing from angles and you don't have to bend over as much. And not only that, but I can reach from where I'm standing as well. Whereas, you know, if you've got a shorter handle, you're going to have to step to the wood rather than reaching out. And all of that makes a big difference. Pretty much since I've been splitting, I've split with a 36-inch handle. So that's what the Fisker's X27 is. But as you can see, this is tough white oak. And this is my first time putting this axe into this wood. Previously to this, it was all ash that I had split with it, which splits very well. It's probably one of my favorite woods to split, honestly. But this stuff right here is tough, especially when it dries out. White oak and hickory, to the best of my knowledge and from my own experience with these woods, I've had much more experience with oak than hickory. I've split some hickory, but they're both much tougher when they season, from what I understand. Whereas like something like sycamore, it's a lot tougher when it's green. Way tougher. It's like a completely different wood. And it's the same way with this oak, though. It's like a completely different wood when it's seasoned. It's so much tougher. When it's green, it actually splits fairly well as long as you're not hitting knots and stuff. But what this video is where we were doing a live feed. You can see Carter there in the background. He actually runs a log splitter by himself now. And we've been selling a lot of wood lately. It's Sunday right now, and I'm just sitting here in a recliner. But the kids are outside playing right now. I went out there with them earlier. But right now I'm just kind of sitting here editing this video, and tomorrow we've got some more wood to do. So it's been so far a busy year, and I'm very thankful for that. But axemanship is a big thing for me because that's how I do it, honestly, and that's how I enjoy to do it. And the splitter is great, especially when you get into these tougher woods. But I showed a video here a while back. Even in the tougher woods, I still almost doubled the output of the splitter. Hand splitting is what I'll always do, Lord willing. I'm not opposed to having that splitter, and I'm very thankful for that splitter. Steve Weshalowski gave that to me, and it was very kind of him. It's been very useful. And in the future, I wouldn't be against other splitters having them, but I'll always hand split for as long as I'm able, Lord willing. But anyways, that handle in this video later on, it breaks, and you'll see where it breaks. And that's what I kind of want to talk about is why I think it broke. I don't think that it was anything that Brad did wrong at all. I think he did a fantastic job, but he made a video on it after, because I messaged him the day it happened and told him, and he got back to me quick, you know, and then the same day posted a video about it. Brad Ratonia with Raw Axes. He has a YouTube channel here, and I'm happy to see that he's past 100 subscribers now, which is great because he's got a really good personality. He enjoys swinging axes, and he's very good at making the handles. He said he has a passion for it, and that's great because he mentioned something about retiring and then having more time, you know, it'll give him something to do. So I want to do my best to promote him. Here I am kind of just showing this wood, how it bundles itself, as I have many times, how it bundles itself, I meant. And you can see I'm kind of reading the live feed there. I did not know you could download lives until here recently, but look how beautiful the grain in this handle is. There's his stamp, Raw Axes. It's an Adirondack handle, the first one I've ever had. And that's what I told him today. I said, you've sold me on that Adirondack handle. I mean, I love it for a double bit. I like it better, I believe, than the traditional double bit handle. It is great. And I hold it from the traditional grip as you would a single bit, you know. I've turned it over and tried the other grip, but I like the traditional grip a lot better. And that axe is a fantastic splitter. Whatever he did to the head, he said when he had it at first that it was sticking worse on him because he was going to send it to me sooner, and he messaged me. He kept me up to date the whole time very well. Even today he messaged me and showed me the next handle he's sending me. And what he's doing with the next one is he's making it thicker around the area where it broke at, which is probably about 3 inches under the head itself. That's where the handle snapped, and it literally just snapped. It didn't, I've seen some hickory do that as well. I think if it's good quality hickory, it doesn't just snap like that. It kind of breaks apart, but the strands hold it because hickory has a very high bending strength. Ash they've used for baseball bats, so obviously it's very tough wood. But baseball bats, you're hitting a soft baseball or even a hard baseball. You're not hitting hardwoods again and again in the same way. So, but that's what I was telling Brad earlier today. I said, and I'd mentioned it to Buck, and Buck popped up on my live the other day, and I asked him his opinion on it because, of course, he's got much more experience than me with axes and handles and everything. And he said Ash can't take the power. So me and Brad today when we were talking, I mentioned, Buck saying that. And he said he showed me the handle they sent me. It's Ash as well, that pretty much the same handle, but a little beefier, a little thicker. And he said, I can make you a hickory one if you want. And I said, well, I'll try this Ash one, and we'll see how it does, because I'm not very familiar with Ash. It wasn't an overstrike that broke this handle. You'll see that. What it was just I was using the flick a lot, which the flick is tougher on them. But if you've got a good piece of hickory, you can use the flick. That's what you want. You want to be able to use that sort of axemanship if you're doing this for production like I do still, and plan to for a long time to come still. And so I told him, I said, let's try it. I'll try the Ash thicker, because I'd love to experiment with it myself. I'm learning myself in this because I haven't really used a lot of materials outside of hickory. I have used some, and almost all of them that I have used broke. But I think a lot of them were kind of rejects, the ones I was getting. I was getting them from a flea market. But I'm very willing to try it, But you do got to be careful, because you'll see when this breaks, when it breaks, it snaps, and the head just kind of, thank goodness it didn't get me, because the head is extremely sharp. And it happens so fast that you can't do nothing about it. You don't even really have time to react. But anyways, so the plan is, he showed me a picture today of the next one that he's sending. I'm looking forward to getting it. I think he said maybe he'd be sending it out Tuesday, and then putting it to the test, because like I said, it did great in Ash, but once I got into this tougher white oak, like this piece right here, you can see, that is a tough round. And I mentioned that in the video, but I'm kind of doing audio, so you can't hear that. But I said, I think this one's going to be tough. Now, this one isn't the one that it breaks on, though. It wasn't an overstrike. You'll see that. I was just using the flick, and I think it was just the amount of force that I was using, because that piece of wood that I was trying to flick off, it was kind of, which is what oak does a lot when you try to flick it, white oak, it kind of springs out and springs back in because it's so stringy. And so I was putting a little more force into it, as I seen, I think it was the fourth hit maybe. You see there how I'm flicking. I had done it maybe 3 times and the wood was still holding on, so I started trying to increase it a little more. And not trying to brag on myself at all, but I can swing pretty hard with an axe. And if you swing these axes very hard, especially when you're using the flick, you put that force together that you're exerting, plus the force of the flick itself, in a tough wood like this, which is hard to tear apart, yeah, it's gonna have to take a tough handle to withhold that force, because it will snap, and that's exactly what happens to this one. So I'm interested in seeing, this next one that I get from Brad, how it does under that sort of force. I messaged him earlier, and I told him, I said kind of the same thing. I'm interested in seeing how the next one will do, and I told him this, and not in a bragging way at all. I'm just telling the truth. And I was telling it to him in order to kind of give him an idea where I'm coming from, and maybe an idea of how to make the handles for me personally. I said, I split wood a lot more than the average man, a lot more. I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I know that's the truth, because a lot of people don't split wood for, to sell by hand. Most of them that do that do it with a log splitter. I do it mainly by hand, and I have for the last 7 years. And when you're doing that, and then you're dealing with these tough woods to where you've got to swing hard sometimes, and then you use the flick like I do. And just the amount of swings, you need a handle that can hold up to that. And that's not an easy task, really, in my opinion, especially with, I think Ash is going to have to be, because it's not as tough as hickory, I think it's definitely going to have to be thicker for me personally anyways. And even then, we'll see how it does, with it in these tough hardwoods. with me swinging it hard, you know, because that's what it takes in this. I've said it before, sometimes it's not just axemanship in this oak, it's just hard, accurate swinging. It's about to happen right here on that very piece. See how many times? Right here. Fourth one. Did you see that? Look at the head. It just snapped, the handle did, about 3 inches underneath, 3-4 inches under the head. And I'll kind of let you hear what I say from here. Brad's gonna be disappointed. Turn it off. What? The old flick did it to it. Look at that, right on the line. Man, I hate that. I love that handle too. The flick did it, look where it broke. Man. Oh, I hate that. There it is, guys. Brad's gonna be mad at me. But see, look where it broke too. That wasn't an overstrike, this is an ash handle. I hate that, man, that was a nice handle too. He made that by hand. No, the flick is tough on them when you use the flick. And ash is great, but that's the first one I ever had. And I can tell by looking at the fibers, they're not real bendy. So, I hate that. So I'm interested to see if ash is gonna work for me personally, to be honest with you. I'm very interested because I hope it will, but I'm not positive that it will. There is Sheriff Adler, and that is hafted on the Buckland Billy Ray Sheriff handle, that Adler Super Splitter head, and it has hung tough so far. You all be safe out there, and God bless. Good hearing from each and every one of you. Brad's craftsmanship is beautiful, so I'm really looking forward to trying the next handle out.